Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This video is going to be a part 2 video to my previous video about Ben's communication software. Just quickly, even though the previous video did this already, I'm going to do a little bit of an overview about Ben and his condition. So in the previous video, it's a little more in depth. So if you want to go check that out, go check it out. But in this video, I'm going to be going over mostly the software and the updates to the software. So Ben's my little brother. He lives with myself and my wife, Nancy, and we take care of him full time. It's been about 2.5 years we've been taking care of him. Ben's condition is called Tub4A related leukodystrophy. He's practically a quadriplegic at this point in his life. And over the past 10 years or so, he struggled with communication. More or less, Ben has had to use a bit of sign language with his hands when he could use his hands. He had a Tobii Dynavox, which was something he could click buttons to say certain phrases and communicate with. But all those things are kind of not working now for him because he doesn't have use of his hands like he used to. We've experimented with some software like the eye gaze software or eye tracking software, so that way he can basically use his eyes to control a mouse on a computer. But since Ben's vision is pretty limited and he has a condition called nystagmus, he's unable to use that type of software. So the next best thing we figured out just last year or last 2 years was using buttons on his headrests. Ben has pretty reliable right and left head movement, so he can turn his head left and right. In fact, that's how we communicate with him shorthand if he doesn't have his software available. So Ben turns his head left for no, right for yes, and we can ask him a series of questions and we can kind of figure out what he needs doing it that way. In the previous video, we went over the history, how we discovered a foundation or an organization called the Speak Your Mind Foundation, and they helped us kind of get to where we are, or at least get us started and get us to now where we are today, after I kind of took it and evolved it to where it is. But we basically took a very standard software, which was just a scan and select software, so Ben could go through and click yes, no, maybe, and I think we had FU on there, and we turned it into a 9-panel software where he can go through 9 different things, and then we turned it into like a 64-panel software to where, you know, it was basically he had phrases that were in categories. So, you know, maybe he had basic needs, comfort, feelings, and then he can go through that. And then from there, I kind of wanted him to have more. I wanted him to be able to, you know, pick his TV shows, and I wanted him to be able to play games and type on a keyboard and things like that. And I just thought to myself, like, there's got to be a way to do this, and I didn't want to rely on, you know, someone else kind of coding this for us. So I took it upon myself to learn a bit of Python, but basically ChatGPT did most of the coding for everything I'm about to show you. Okay, so using Python, I coded this one is a 9-button interface where Ben can use his 2 buttons. So he has a scan and select button, and he can go through on the new interface and select his TV shows now. So on this one particularly, it has 9 of his favorite shows, Family Guy, Futurama, Simpsons, you know, all the ones he likes. And I'm showing him how he can select those buttons to get to the shows. And it worked. So this is just the first test, but I'm showing Ben what he can possibly do. And yeah, so this is just the beginning. Hit that one. Okay. Watch. What's gonna pop up now? Let's see. What's this one? Oh, what is that? Is it Spider-Man? Yep. So Spider-Man's on it.
So Ben can choose Spider-Man on his tablet whenever he wants.
So now you can watch Spider-Man every day. This software that I developed with ChatGPT's help is pretty robust for Ben. It took this idea of just basic communication and gave him access to practically his whole computer in a way. And it's given him such a level of independence that we didn't think was possible. I might get emotional talking about it because this has been like a very important mission for me, is trying to find Ben a voice, and it's kind of evolved beyond that. If you checked out the previous video, link is in the description. You can kind of see where I was at with it at that point in time. Now I'm going to show you the full software. I call it version 9. Previously, it was version 8.5. Now we're on version 9, where Ben has, with his keyboard, he has predictive text. He has games now. He has trivia. And we have a way of uploading and importing all of his shows, movies, and audio, books, whatever he wants to listen to and do. We have an easy way to upload it to his software at any time, provided we have the streaming software. Without further ado, I'm going to show you the features, and then I'm going to kind of show you the bones to the new features I've added for those of you who are interested. So I know that was a bit long-winded, but let's get right into the software so I can show you what he has access to. So this is Ben's communication software. It's in his startup processes, and it opens up so long as the computer's in front of him. It has facial recognition, so it'll see he's in front of it, and it'll open this software, and he's able to access it. The first button, I've showed a lot of this in the previous video, but the first button is an emergency alert. The second button is settings. To access these, all Ben has to do is click his left button. It's the little blue button to scan through it. If he holds down that button, it'll scan backwards. Most of the menus have that functionality where a short press will go forward, a long press will go backwards. And then in some of the stuff I'm going to show you later, a long press of his right button, the enter button, does another thing. It pauses games and things like that. So I'm not going to go into all the settings here, but I'll go into the new features. So
communication.
We'll go into communication first. Also, you'll hear that everything is text-to-speech on this. That's because Ben's vision isn't great, and we want to make sure he hears exactly what he's clicking on.
Communication menu.
So in the basic menu,
Basic.
Ben has standard stuff, yes, no, I don't know, maybe, explain, thank you, I feel sick and I need a break. So just quickly that he can get to it and say something to us. That way he doesn't have to type something out. This is like his quick phrases if he's just sitting and using his computer and he needs something.
Yes. Keyboard.
Now, his keyboard has been updated pretty drastically. I was able to implement a predictive text feature. I'm going to get into kind of the bones of the predictive text a little later, but I'm just going to show you what that looks like.
Keyboard.
So the keyboard opens as a separate app. He can scan to each level.
Controls.
Okay, the controls have space, delete letter, delete word, clear, layout, and main. I added something in here. I'm just going to click with my mouse. It's a little bit faster. But we added something in layout to where he can change the volume. Since this is separate from his main application, if he needed to change the volume, so that way maybe people need to hear him a little better, he can actually change the volume in this setting. In the layout section, there's a bunch of different common phrases, pronouns, adjectives, things like that, date and time references that he can click on. If he needed to get to something a little bit faster than typing out the whole word, he can do that here. He doesn't use this that much, but this is a really cool standalone application that anyone can use and have, and it's available on GitHub. So I wanted this to be robust, not just for Ben, but for anyone who is going to use it. But the volume up and volume down feature increases and decreases volume, as you can see. Yeah, so we added something called common phrases and needs on this one as well. So if he needed something from here, he has like, 30 some odd things to choose from. So the things that he needs most of the time are like suction, because he secretes a lot. Suction, he's in pain, he's sick, he wants to go back in bed. The chair, it'll type it for him. And when he clicks on the actual
controls,
when he clicks on the actual text bar, it'll say it for him.
Chair.
So it's really cool. So I won't go through everything on here, but we'll go back to the layout. When he types, so if he was to type something like hello, H-E-L, you'll see that at the bottom, there's a predictive text bar. To get to the predictive text bar for Ben, if you want to do it quickly,
controls,
he just has to hold down the return key. So no matter where he is, instead of just constantly clicking, to different, constantly clicking to try to get to the bottom to get to the predictive words, he just simply holds down the return key.
Predictive text.
It goes to predictive text automatically. He can click on it again, and then he can scan through each selection.
Hello.
And pick what he wants. It will remove what he was typing before and put that word. So now hello's in there. He just has to click spacebar once or his left button once, and he can say
hello.
Hello. So yeah, he can do this, and it has a very robust predictive text feature that I added. I actually had to create it myself using common phrases from movie scripts. So I'll get into that a little later, but very proud of that because it'll actually predict like multiple words in a sentence. So it'll kind of do sentence structure or predictive sentences up to 3 words. So it's pretty sweet. And also it will save anything that he said previously. So if Ben types something like, let's say, Ben space is space, let's say cool. Okay. And we say it, you'll see that everything's popping up in the predictive text at the bottom.
Ben is cool.
If we say it, I think if we say it 3 times.
Cool. Ben is cool.
Okay. Clear it. And now you'll see when I start using the space bar and return key to do this, I'll start spelling Ben. So B,
D,
E. Ben is down in predictive text. So we'll go to predictive text by holding down the return key. We'll select it again. And then scan over using the space bar to Ben. And then we should see, yep, is in predictive text. So we'll select that. And cool is also in predictive text. So Ben is cool pops up.
Ben is cool.
Okay. So this is pretty sweet. This works really well for Ben. And this is like the main feature that I wanted to make sure worked well for Ben. And he's getting better at it. It's not perfect, but it works well enough. And yeah, I'm very happy that this has been such a kind of cornerstone feature for Ben because now he can talk to us and he can type to us. So when he clicks on the main button, it brings him back to the main screen. And we're going to get into the entertainment features now. So the entertainment features has some really cool new stuff that I've added and that are easy to basically update over time. So instead of changing a lot of code, all I need to do is change an Excel file that we have in a shared storage. So everything that Ben watches comes from an Excel sheet that lives on a share that we all have access to on OneDrive. Whenever we update it, it'll upload the movies and the shows into his software.
Entertainment menu.
So when we go in here, for example, if I go into movies, you'll notice it has a bunch of different things in here. Okay. So let's just go to, let's see, Adam Sandler. So Adam Sandler, we have a bunch of movies. Anytime Ben clicks on a movie, it does something specific for whatever the streaming platform is. So a lot of this is in Plex. So Plex.tv has its own kind of unique functionality. Since Ben doesn't have any access to controls on Chrome, when these open, they need to open in a very specific way. For example, with Plex, when he clicks on, we'll do Big Daddy, but when we click on Big Daddy needs to open in full screen on Plex. So to do that, it actually needs to send like an F key to do full screen. Ben can't click the F button, so I had to program something in the software to, whenever it sees that Plex is being open, it will send an F key to full screen it. So it takes a second, and it will play, and it'll full screen for him. So I didn't click anything, it just automatically does it. I had to remove the spacebar feature for Ben in Chrome because Ben would accidentally click it on Plex, and when you hold down the spacebar on Plex, it messes up the playback completely. So whenever Chrome is open, Ben only has access to the right head button. But that's important because Ben, with 3 clicks of the return key or the red head button, he can actually close Chrome completely and it will reopen his software. So let's see what that looks like. So that was 3 clicks and it reopens his software. So no matter what, Ben can always get back to his software. There are some glitches when we do this. Sometimes Ben kind of, opens two Chrome instances at once, but it's a pretty easy fix. As long as he goes back into a show, presses the return key 3 times, it'll close every instance of Chrome. Additionally, when he goes and plays a movie that he was watching previously, it will save his spot. And it especially does that using TV shows. So we'll go back to his shows, and when we click on shows, he's been watching a lot of Cartoon Network. So we'll watch, let's say, the Powerpuff Girls. So we'll open the Powerpuff Girls.
Powerpuff Girls.
And it should open to wherever Ben was watching last, and I'll show you how that works.
Sugar. Spice.
So it opened up the Powerpuff Girls to episode 10. So it looks like he's on episode 10. So the cool thing about this is anytime there is a TV show, I have it written in there that it is going to save the active link from the TV show into a JSON file to pull from that later. So because the link that we use in the Excel sheet, which I'll show a little bit later, is static, when he watches a new show, if that link was always static, it will always go back to that episode. So we had to figure out a way for it to actively pull the URL that he's currently on. So anytime he clicks on the show, it'll go based on the title to the active link that it was on before. This sometimes can get messed up depending on if he clicks on too many things at once. It might pull a different show into the Powerpuff Girls slot, but it's a very easy solution. We just have to go in there, navigate to the show he's trying to watch, and it'll re-update that link. So pretty easy fix. But close it, 3 presses of enter. So all of these shows work in the same way, and each streaming service has a different functionality. So again, if it's Netflix, it's pretty straightforward. It automatically goes into full screen. But if it's Plex, like I said earlier, it has to actually do a full screen thing. Or if it's like a live, stream or something, or an actual TV show, he's trying to watch a live TV. Let's go to I don't know. We'll do action. So this is an action live TV stream. So this is just like a random shows. So if he doesn't want to watch something specific, he can click on a live TV link and it should open a live TV thing. So let's see what it looks like. So it's opening up Pluto. So Pluto is very unique because it always opens muted, and it always opens in this small screen. So I had to set it up. Oh, it's loud. Sorry, guys. I had to make it so that way it would unmute the audio and then also full screen it after a few seconds of loading. So it just basically sends an M and an F key to the browser, so that way it'll do those two things. But yeah, it's pretty cool. It took me a while to kind of figure out how to do that stuff, but yeah, this is the idea of me trying to think outside the box and using AI to help me kind of figure out these solutions so that way Ben can use his computer. Okay, so those are his shows. Those are his, that's how his movies, music, all that stuff, audiobooks, all that stuff kind of works the same. And it comes from an Excel sheet. So before we get into the Excel sheet, let me show you Ben's games and trivia. So first of all, we'll go into trivia. There is a bunch of trivia that we've been putting together for him. And it goes by genre, and it'll do 10 questions at a time at random, because we can put hundreds of questions in there, but every time he opens this, it's a different, it's different trivia. I think we have a ton of different ones. So right now it's Aqua Teen, Pokemon, The Simpsons, Family Guy. So we'll go back, and then we'll reopen trivia.
Trivia game. And
you'll see it's different. So now it's Lord of the Rings, Are You Smart in the Fifth Grader? Aqua Teen's on there again, but there's some new genres for him to choose from. So that way it's always a little different, so that way it kind of gives him something new to click on. So if he clicks on something like, let's say Spider-Man.
Trivia, Spider-Man. What is the name of Spider-Man's AI assistant in the MCU?
So Ben can now
Karen.
Scan through.
Friday.
Pick.
Edith.
pick his choices, and he can do trivia. So this all the trivia comes from an Excel sheet, and we basically just add a bunch of trivia questions. So it'll go through all the questions, 10 questions, and it'll say press back to go back to the main menu. So he'll press back, and it'll bring him back to the trivia topic. So he spends a lot of time just doing random trivia, and we're constantly updating this. And I'll show you guys everything in the Excel sheet and how we update that stuff as far as like the back end stuff a little bit later.
Back.
In games, so
Games.
we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games, and these are all custom games. Ben has such specific controls that I need to make sure that these games worked for him specifically. Baseball is a pretty interesting one. It's him versus a computer, and it's just a baseball simulator game. So this is a game I made Ben for his birthday, and it's pretty cool. It shows like the hits. He has different hit types. He's the red team. The computer's the blue team. He can do a normal swing, a power swing, hold, or bunt. He can steal the bases when he gets on base. The bases will highlight the color red if he's on base, blue if the computer's on base. And then when he's pitching, he can choose like 5 different pitches to pitch against the computer. So he's having a ball. He's playing it a lot. You like it? That's a yes. Alright, I'll let you play. Alright, he's going to play this game. The tower defense one is just that. It's a tower defense game. You basically have to buy things, and it'll automatically play in 2.5 minute rounds. And it'll shoot the bad guys that come in. And they're just shapes right now, but I'm eventually going to add graphics to it. So the game is pretty ridiculous. I mean, you kind of have to strategize mostly with money. But as you play the game, it becomes a little bit easier, and you get to just do some crazy things. At one point, like you see here, you get 2 towers, which kind of just decimates the enemies. And then eventually, you can buy something like a laser, and it'll just destroy everything. And you get things like bombs and whatever. So right now, it's pretty easy, but I can make it more difficult for Ben in the future. So for Ben to get in and out of these games, he just has to hold down the return key. When he holds down the return key, it opens a pause menu. Okay, so pauses the game, and then he can go to the main menu or exit the game directly from this pause menu, and then exit the game.
Exit game.
And it'll bring him back to his software. Word jumble, Ben will go through and he will practice with his words. So Ben has a bit of dyslexia. I created that so that way he can practice spelling. There's an easy, medium, and hard mode. Easy is like 2, 3, and 4 letter words. Medium is 4, 5, and 6 letter words. And then hard is 6, 7, and 8 letter words. I don't even think he's touched medium or hard mode yet, but he's getting better at easy mode. So I'm hoping he'll just keep practicing and get better and better. Mini golf is fun. I made that. That is a mini golf game that actually has a way to do custom levels. So I actually made a level creator game for it, or level creator software for it. So I can create new levels for Ben very quickly using that, and I'll show you that in a little bit as well. Just real quickly to show you how the level editor works. Basically, you can put the ball in the hole where you'd like, and then you can add your hazards wherever you please. And we'll just drop a couple in here. And maybe we'll put maybe some sand here. And the game knows what to do with these objects. This is just telling the game where to put them. And then I can put them into the designated level spot. So if Ben wanted to have, let's say, 18 holes, I can create a custom, 9 more holes, since he only has 9 right now. And this will be good. So all I need to do is print the coordinates of all of the objects that are in the scene. Press S, and then down here you'll see that there's some code it spits out that I will then put into his game, and that will effectively be a new level. Tic-tac-toe, we play that's pretty standard. You can do a 2-player on that. And also the game of concentration, where he can basically select 2 images and try to match images on a board. And that's a way for him to kind of keep his mind active. So pretty sweet, pretty awesome. Those are like the major updates. And I'm very excited for the future updates, which I'm going to be working on some very cool text-based kind of adventure games for him, hopefully using like a local AI. Think of a game like King's Quest, something like that, where it's kind of a story and you pick up items and use those items to defeat bad guys or barter or whatever. I kind of want to do that for him as a custom game. And as of right now, his software is at a really, really good spot. And I'm really proud of what I was able to create here. But quickly, I'm just going to go into kind of the back end stuff. So this is a document that has all of Ben's shows just kind of in a list. And this list is very easily updated by us, and all we have to do is put in the type, which is either live, movie, show, the genre, which we can kind of make up and put it in as we like. So superhero, Disney, whatever we think Ben would be able to navigate and understand what is in there is kind of the genre. So like, for example, instead of having John Wick in action, we just have John Wick as a genre because there's like 9 movies. I think there's 5 movies, but that's an easier way of doing it. Or like The Matrix, for example, instead of having it in action, we just put it in the Matrix genre, right? By title, it does it alphabetically. Everything's alphabetical, and then the link. And each link is it's uniquely opened in a certain way in the Python script where again, like it'll send a key or something to make it full screen, or it'll know that like it'll have to unmute the stream if you click it for the first time, that type of stuff. So this is very easy to update for us. So instead of like going into the code itself and just like coding, I can just add it to an Excel sheet. Myself or Nancy can just add a ton of different shows in here. So he's already up to 288 shows and movies, and it's just going to keep growing as he requests things or as we just think of stuff that he might want to watch. And a lot of this stuff he doesn't even watch, or he hasn't even seen yet. We just put it on there so that way he has the option to see it. But he has surprised us before and has watched just random stuff that we put in there. So it's awesome. Same thing with trivia questions. This is what trivia questions look like. Basically, it's just a topic, and then it has a question, and then it has the correct answer, and then 3 wrong answers. Okay. And yeah, it just kind of goes through, and it will. How many do we have here? We have 1,167 different trivia questions for Ben. And he likes to go through these and just have fun with it and just, have a ball and just, try his best to like keep getting the answers correct. And it's great. Super awesome. This is easy to update as well. Okay. Word jumble is the same thing. So word jumble is the exact same thing where we have the difficulty level on the left. So mode would be the difficulty level, medium, hard, easy, yada, yada, yada. The word is the next one, and then it would have a sentence. So that way, when Ben plays the game, it reads the sentence. This has like some little quirks, which I'm working on fixing, but overall works really well for Ben. And yeah, we created this that way it can help him with his spelling and with just using the keyboard in general. So that way he's a little more confident in spelling, because we noticed that sometimes he kind of shuts down if he doesn't know how to spell something. So we're trying to make him feel more confident in spelling. So that way, he'll feel more confident communicating. And the other thing we wanted to show you was the predictive text. So predictive text, just so you guys can kind of see what I did with predictive text. Initially, it was just going to be kind of AI driven, where I was like, maybe ChatGPT or something can just like do it, or maybe Google has something built in that'll just do predictive text. Turns out it was kind of hard to do in my own software to create it and customize it. So what I did was I used something called the Cornell movie data set, which is a huge list of movie scripts. And I did a Python script to basically break down the most common words, 2-word and 3-word sentences. So n-grams, I guess bigrams and trigrams. And what it'll do is it will rank them and put them in order of used. So this file you see here, which is massive, it's just a text file, but it has a ton of different words in it. And then also it remembers what Ben wrote. So there's a lot of stuff in here that's kind of nonsense that Ben would never use. But I literally just had it kind of grab everything from the movie data set, and it works pretty well for what it is. It doesn't have everything, but it works pretty well. And as Ben writes things, it'll save them. So for example, we just did Ben is cool, and that's at the bottom of this list. So Ben is cool. Ben said want to go for a walk the other day. He said Nancy love you. He always says Nancy love you. He loves Nancy. I play games. He wrote this recently. How was flight? My brother came in and he asked how was flight to Brian. I asked him what day it was. He said today is Wednesday. He's getting better, and as he writes things in the keyboard, it saves it, which is really great. So I'm very proud of what I was able to create here and make for my brother Ben. And it's a very cool software that I'm hoping more people can use or potentially help us with making even better. Yeah, so that is version 9 currently, and there's more stuff to come. You know, I'm going to keep working on this, but for now, we're just going to be slowly working on the text-based games, improving some of the stuff that's already there, the keyboard, some of his current games, just making sure they don't have any bugs and things that he enjoys doing. Right. Adding shows, adding trivia questions, things like that. Those are all important. And this is kind of just like the operating mode, if you will, less the development mode, just kind of like making sure Ben has more shows, making sure, you know, he's using his keyboard and expressing himself every morning. And then just giving him some games that he can play. So right now he has these games, and he plays them pretty often. He really loves playing the baseball game, for example, and the mini golf game. And sometimes he gets bored, and he'll just go to his keyboard and let us know, you know, bored or I need a break, whatever. And that's great. You know, this is the reason I made this thing, right? So yeah, the next phase is going to be kind of making more content like this. So that way I can kind of show what we're doing with Ben, maybe inspire some other people to use AI the way I've used it. So that way, you know, they themselves can feel empowered to help someone else, or just inspire someone to do more, you know? And yeah, I'm very proud of what I've created here. And yeah, it's been 3 months now, a little over 3 months in the making, and this is pretty amazing for just 3 months, in my opinion. So I'm super proud of what I was able to create, and I'm super happy it's useful for Ben. Yeah. I could get pretty emotional about it, but I'm gonna try not to. So anyway, the future steps are going to be creating a game for Ben, and just kind of making sure that the current software just stays updated and stays working for him. But the big thing now is the custom text-based game. Think of like a King's Quest type game, just text-based, maybe with some AI generated imagery and sound effects. And then from there, maybe creating something more useful for his clicking, his head clicks. So right now he uses just like a cutout face shield top, so basically a headband with 2 Velcro strips on it, so that way it holds the buttons, and it works pretty well for now. But we would like to maybe 3D print something that can stay on his head a little bit better, or maybe attach to his headrest or to his bed, so that way it can kind of rock and stay in place, so that way he can easily click the switches, whether we use these switches or buy some new ones or kind of figure out a new way for him to click the buttons. Not sure yet, but that's all kind of in the future plans. So this is a longer video. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. All of the software and all the things that I've worked on and showed you guys today is in GitHub. You can download that. It is in a Python script format, and it's kind of modular. So the games are standalone games. The keyboard is standalone. The software itself is standalone. They just kind of link to each other by basically closing and reopening the software. So if you're a coder or someone who programs, you'll kind of see what I did. It's not perfect. You know, I'm not someone who is an expert at this stuff, but it works for us. And I'm hoping someone can use it, improve on it, and help someone else with it.
Communication. Communication menu. Keyboard.
Do you like this new improved communication device I made for you?
Predictive text. Yes. Yes.
What would you say is your favorite thing about this new communication device?
Games.
Games is your favorite thing? All right. Which is your favorite game, would you say?
O. K. L. Predictive text. Golden. Gold. Golf. Golf.
Golf is your favorite? Yeah? Can you show me how you get to your golf game?
Predictive text. Main. Games. Games. Concentration. Tic-tac-toe. Mini golf. Mini golf.
Step right up, folks. See if you can outdrive the amazing golf ball whacker guy. Golf requires goofy pants and a fat ass.
Thank you guys for watching. Follow the YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. Follow our Instagram. And yeah, I'll see you guys soon. Thanks.